That's right. We're holding Daf Ayin 70B.
I forgot my glasses.
Oh no.
It's all right, then I watched the phone.
70B. We're starting from Tanya. It was taught in a Bais. It's I wouldn't know what to tell you for the art scroll, but it's in the Hebrew. Oh, you can do it because you can click on the Hebrew. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines from the bottom. In 70B. Rabbi Yonasan. This is very interesting. Personality-wise, because here we have Rabbi Yonasan. Rabbi Yonasan many times says in the name of Rabbi Shmuel, and he's going to be having a conversation with Ben Azai. And Ben Azai was a friend of Rabbi Akiva, and for some reason it's not on the chart.
Where is Rabbi Yonasan?
Rabbi Yonasan is under Rabbi Shmuel.
Aha, yeah, see.
Many times when we have a quote from Rabbi Shmuel, it's Amar Rabbi Yonasan, Amar Rabbi Shmuel. Good morning. So, Amar Rabbi Yonasan, Namti Leila Ben Azai. The word Namti means I spoke. I spoke to Ben Azai. I told Ben Azai, Lamadnu, we've been taught, Nevelas Behim Mater Shematama, that a nevela, a carcass of a kosher animal, but it wasn't slaughtered, so it gives off a tumah. Come up here. We've also learned that nevelas behemoth tmeya shematama, that the carcass of a non-kosher animal gives off a tumah. You know what? Before you sit down, pass me that chumash. It used to be purple.
This one?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So we're using two verses here. First one is Leviticus 5:1. Over here it says. 11 and verse 5.
70 BC.
So here it says, it's 5:2. Thank you. You said 2, right? So it says, it says, any soul, if a person, that touches anything that's ritually unclean. Okay, that doesn't tell me what he's touching. But then he gives me two options. Comfortable? The carcass of an impure wild animal. Or the carcass of an impure domesticated animal. Both impure. But that's not what we're discussing. So we only know an impure wild animal. We only know an impure domesticated animal. Now we have another source of chapter 11. Doesn't sound good, does it? 39 that says, if an animal will die that you can eat, and someone touches its carcass, his tummy until evening. So now I have 3. I have impure wild, impure domesticated, and kosher. Pure, I shouldn't say impure, I should say non-kosher. Non-kosher wild, non-kosher domesticated. Kosher domesticated, all of them that they die, they give off impurity. We're missing one. Kosher wild. Missing kosher wild. Okay, so let me leave this here. So we'll use this again. And Nevelas Chaya Tmeya Shematam. We also know Nevelas Chaya Tmeya, the carcass of a wild non-kosher animal. Nevelas Chaya Torah Lo Lamadnu. We don't know that fourth category of a carcass of a wild kosher animal that it gives off an impurity. Minayin. Where do we know that gives off an impurity? So Namli, he said to me, it's interesting that the word instead of Amarli is over here. It's not. I don't know, like in what location this was written. It's a different. The computers, they can tell. Like you put it through, they can say who wrote it. This Namli, he said to me, Kol haylech al kapav. Anything that goes on its. This was a verse that we quoted before. Anything that goes on its, what was kapav? We said not pause. Pause. Anything that goes on its pause. B'chol achaya hayleches, amongst or in all the animals that go. We said this was impure. So namti loi, I said to him, this is Rabbi Yonasan talking to Ben Azai, v'chinemer b'chol chaya. Does it say in any animal? It only says in any animal, not amongst. In any, the Bais, the prefix Bais could be amongst or in. And Rabbi Yonasan is saying it means in, like we learned yesterday. This is referring to the Mahalche Kapayim B'chayodas. It's talking about a non-kosher animal that's a fetus inside another animal that it gives off impurity, like Rabbi Yossi Eily held. He's differentiated between a kosher fetus and a non-kosher fetus, and he uses this verse as a source, and that's what Rabbi Yonasan is quoting to him. So Namli, back to the question of how do we know that a wild kosher animal, that's the carcass of a wild kosher animal, gives off impurity? Find a deer. How do you know that it gives off impurity? A dead deer. So he says to me, what does Yishmael say? Ben Azai is not so reverent to his friends. He remember when he said, everyone to me is compared to the skin of a garlic, except for this bald one, referring to Rabbi Akiva. So here he said, what does Yishmael say about? He was a colleague, but nevertheless. So
was this all in sin? This is so cynical. This is all. You didn't mean this being sarcastic, obviously, right?
Yeah. I don't know exactly what they meant. I'm sure there's Kabbalistic meanings of all of this, but I'm saying when we read it, it's interesting. So Namtilai, I said to him, V'chiyamas mina behema. The second verse that we quoted, which was 11:39. Over there we said that if an animal will die amongst the animals that you can eat, right? If an animal will die, zubehema tmeya. This is a animal, we divide the pasuk in half. And the first part of the pasuk is referring to a non-kosher animal. Asherhi lechem la'achla is another type of animal that you can eat. Zubehema tahira. This is a kosher animal. And lamadnu chaya b'chlal behema, behema b'chlal chaya. We know that the word chaya includes animals. And we know that the word animal includes chaya. Behema and chaya are interchangeable. Chaya includes wild animals and domesticated, and behema includes domesticated and wild. Chaya taira b'chlal behema taira, which means that a wild pure animal is included in a kosher in a domesticated pure animal, kosher animal. And chaya tmeya b'chlal behema tmeya, and an undomesticated unkosher animal is included in a domesticated non-kosher animal. Behema tmeya b'chlal chaya. Basically, there's four things: kosher and non-kosher wild, and kosher and non-kosher domesticated, and they're each included in each other. So we're going to have four halachas that we're going to learn. Behema tmeya b'chlal chaya tmeya. A domesticated non-kosher is included in a wild non-kosher. Behema tahira b'chlal chaya tahira. A kosher domesticated is included in an undomesticated kosher. U'baloshen hazeh amarli. And in the following expression is what Ben Azai responded to me. Chaval al Ben Azai, woe to Ben Azai, referring to himself. He talks to himself about himself in third person. Shleishim says Rabbi Yishmael that he didn't serve Rabbi Yishmael. In other words, he's so impressed with this answer. He's saying like, "Whoa, I wasted my time. I should have gone to Rabbi Yishmael." Okay.
So what's the difference between a behem and a chaya, practically speaking?
There's a difference in chaylev, that the chaylev of a wild animal is permissible to eat. I guess the farmer would probably tell you, like, what are you talking about? What's the difference? What's the difference in an apple and an orange? It's huge. You can't compare. But the halachic difference would be
Just the
would be
chaylev.
chaylev.
For all intents
Kisei
and purposes, they're
hadam.
the same.
Is only on a wild animal.
Wild animals like a deer?
Yeah.
Oh, so the venison meat is, I
Right.
think, fatted. Is it fatted? Or
Oh,
is it
really?
Very lean.
I don't know. It's lean.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
extremely
then,
lean.
that's why the chaylev is mutar, because they ain't none.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's not a lot of fat in it here.
There's this farmer that I know that told me that the chickens in the olden days, or the wild chickens, that's before this, the factory type, he said it really wasn't, the meat was, they had more muscle. It wasn't really such good meat, chicken meat. That's why they always made it into soup. The chicken soup was because the chickens weren't, now they keep them all cooped up and they just get fat and you can eat it. But all this was like more tough. It wasn't, anyway. So,
Lazy chickens nowadays.
Oh, in the old days, they had to run
It
away
tastes
from
better,
the
but
farmers
it's
who were trying
probably-
to catch them. They got real good muscles.
the chickens are like they are in the, they're running around over there on the street. You go to those places. Okay, now we're going to go through the 4 halachas here. But first we have to say, where do you know that a chaya b'chlal behema? That it's included, that a wild animal is the same as a domestic in the terms. And when the Torah says the term chaya, it's referring to also an animal. Let's see where this is.
It says, it's very interesting, it says here that when Ben Azai asked Rabbi Yonason, what does Yishmael say about this, without calling him Rabbi?
Yeah.
Once he heard this explanation in his name, then he called him Rabbi Yishmael.
Oh, that is so good. That's so good. That's so
That's from
accurate.
Maharat's
Did you notice?
Chayus.
Do you notice that he switches to Rabbi Yishmael? Excellent. That's beautiful.
Why?
Because he heard a good shot.
Or he's never spoken before.
That's apparently. And that's from the Maritzchias. Okay, good. That's an excellent comment. Okay. Chaya b'chlal behema.
It brings down from him Pirkei Avos, because he learned one thing from him, he called him Rabbi.
Oh.
So I think that's maybe in his name.
Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. The Maritzchias is in Pirkei Avos?
6:3.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe he's the one that said that. That when you learn one thing from another person, you have to call him teacher or rabbi.
Well, it couldn't have been.
Alufai?
Rabbi Yishmael is the one that says that in Pirkei Avos. Who says it in Pirkei Avos?
Maybe Rabbi Ben Azai.
I think so.
I don't remember that.
6:3.
I don't know.
Uh-huh. Okay, so chaya b'chlal, right? Chaya b'chlal behema minal. Where do we see that a wild animal is included in a domesticated animal in the Torah? Because it's written, Zaisa behema asher techelu. These are the animals that you can eat. It uses the term behema, and it goes on to enumerate them, to list them. It says shar, seksavim, begoimer, etc. And it says ayel tzvi v'yachmar, the deer, the gazelle, and the other type of wild animal. So you see, it goes under the heading of behema. See the wild? Very good. That's a good proof. Haketzad. How is that possible to do that? The answer is chaya b'chlal behema. Wild animals are included in the term behema. Behema b'chlal chaya minalan. How do we know in the Torah that when it says chaya, it's also including domesticated animals? Diksiv, because it says in the pasuk, these are the wild animals that you can eat. Mikola behema, from all the domesticated animals that are on the land. And it says, Kol mafreses parsa. Okay, so how can it do that? It says chaya. The term chaya could be living being, but it could also mean wild animal. Okay, said how is that? Both behema b'chal chaya, because the animal is called domesticated animal is called chaya. Now we go through the halachas. Now, each specific halacha here is not specifically for that case. We have 4 scenarios: wild kosher, wild not kosher, domesticated kosher, domesticated not kosher. We have 4 halachas, and it's randomly arbitrarily put on these 4 halachas on the different cases. It's not specifically that it could only work with that case. It says chaya tahira b'chlal behema tahira. What does that tell me? The wild, the animal, kosher animal is included. What halacha do I get from that? L'simanim. That's teaching me that the signs are the same. The signs of animals. What's considered a kosher animal? The split hoofs. And choose its called chayat meim b'chal behema tameya laharva. The non-kosher wild animal is included in the non-kosher domesticated animal, that you can't crossbreed animals. That's forbidden to make kalayim. Behema tmeya b'chlal chaya tmeya. A domesticated non-kosher animal is included in a undomesticated a non-kosher animal. Look at the Rabbi. We mentioned Rabbi yesterday. It goes like this. The Tanya Rabbi says, it was taught in a Bais of Rabbi Yomi, Ekarni chaya behema. Ekarni chaya. The pasuk says chaya. Behema lama nemra. Why does it say behema? Well, nemra kan behema tmeya, v'nemra la'alon behema tmeya. Here it says behema tmeya. Later on it says behema tmeya. Malahalan to Masakodesh, Afghan to Masakodesh. Let me explain. In Leviticus 5, it says the first pasuk talks about someone that's administered an oath to give evidence in court, and he lies. He says he doesn't know anything. The second pasuk says that if someone touches anything that's unclean, whether it's a dead non-kosher animal, wild or domestic, or a dead unclean creeping animal, and then commits a violation, it doesn't say what the violation is. And it goes on to say that he has to bring a sacrifice.
What's the juxtaposition? They're two together.
Yeah, these two halachas of denying testimony,
right,
and we're going to see in a second, tumas,
right.
eating something tameh, eating a sacrifice when the person's tameh, they have to bring a carbon oil of yared. But it doesn't say clearly what it's referring to, what he did wrong. It just says he's tameh. Yeah, well, that's what it continues on. It says that he has to bring this carbon oil of yared. But then it goes on and it says, actually, it's not the 11:39. It's in 7:21. Over here it says, any soul, any man who comes in contact with human uncleanliness, or with an unclean mammal, or with another unclean creature, and then eats the flesh of a peace offering to God, shall have his soul cut off from his people. So it's so it says a punishment of someone that eats sacrifice while he's tummy. So now I go back to 2 chapters earlier, to chapter 5, and I say, what was the guilt before? It's talking about that he eats something that's impure. That's what Rabbi tells us. The pasuk is vague, doesn't tell me what the guilt is. I go two chapters later, over there it says behema tmeya. That teaches me what the guilt is, what he did wrong, that he ate a sacrifice while he's tummy. Okay, so it says further on behema tmeya, and it says bayas behema tmeya. That teaches me what the guilt is. Just like over there it's tumas kodesh, he's eating something that's holy while he's impure. So too here it's tumas kodesh. That was the halacha of Rabbi. It's a very significant halacha, or else I don't know what the whole verse is talking about. Behema Torah b'chlal chaya Torah liyitzira. We say a domesticated kosher animal is included in a undomesticated kosher undomesticated animal. This is coming to tell me the halacha of formation of the fetus when it's formed. The Tanan, as it was taught in the Mishnah in Nida, Amapeles, someone that miscarries, min behema chaya v'oif, and it looks like it's an animal that's coming out. Right? Mary had a little lamb, or a deer, or a bird. Bein tamei and bein tahirin, whether it's kosher or whether it's not kosher, whether it's kosher. Im zachar, if the animal that's coming out is a male animal, so teshav l'zachar. She's tummy for 7 days, and then she has 33 days of purity. Right? Im nekeva, if it's a female animal, so teshav l'nekeva. She's 14 days of impurity, and then, what was it? 66 days, right? Any yedua, you can't tell. So teshav l'zachar nekeva div Reb Meir. So Reb Meir says that a special halacha, that the male and female status of these animals, of these births, strange births give the impurity to the woman.
What is it, 66 or 90, what is it, 66?
66 plus 14.
Plus 14.
So, the Chacham say no. Kol shein mitzvah sadamena vlad. If it's not a human embryo, it's not a.
The cow that gave birth becomes Tanakh for
No,
66 days?
I'm talking about a woman that gave birth, and what comes out looks like a cow.
Oh,
This would be a difficult time finding a shidduch. But that's what Rabbi Yomi asked Reb Zera. Rabbi Yomi, in that Gemara, in Nida, Rabbi Yomi asked Reb Zera, what about if someone gives kedushin to this fetus? Gives like the money. So the Gemara says over there, oh, what is he asking? Obviously it's not going to survive. We're just talking about that it was born, but it's not surviving. So then the Gemara says, see how hard Rabbi Yirmiyah tried to make Reb Zera laugh? That's what because it's apparently Reb Zera wouldn't laugh because of the destruction of the temple. He held it forbidden to laugh. It's a very strict opinion. Okay, we have the 4 laws. The Gemara goes now and says, "L'Rabbanan haikra lamali."
These are just for polemics, thinking, understanding. I mean, they never really thought any of this
in the actual
these
text.
really weird births. I mean, with camels and cows,
Right.
pigeons and this, cows and people.
Right. That's
I
what we
mean-
said yesterday. That this fellow from Colombia in the genetics department, he said for many years it was just theoretical. He says, but now in the laboratory he can do this stuff, so it's not as theoretical. So,
Yeah, but he's doing it. That's like the guy who goes to heaven, who is to genesis like that and says, God, let me in. He says, why she? He says, well, I can do anything that you did. He says, oh yeah, can you create man? She says, sure. So he goes and he picks up some dirt and starts doing it, and then God goes, wait a minute, that's my dirt.
Make your own dirt.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're doing a laboratory. I mean, you're using stuff that's not
okay.
natural.
Okay. So it's theoretical.
Take
So the Gemara says over here, L'Rabbanan haikra lamali. But according to the Rabbanan, what do we do with this pasuk? Now, there's 2 ways of interpreting what just happened here. Tosfos says, well, you just had an opinion of Reb Meir that says that there's a female and male status to this. There's a male and female possibility to this fetus that's coming out that looks like an animal. But the rabbis argue, so what do they do with that pasuk? That's what we're asking. Rashi learns differently. Rashi says that if you go back to our Mishnah, Rabbi Yossi Aglili is using these psukim to tell me there's a difference between a kosher and non-kosher animal. We're going back to Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak that we learned yesterday. Nefesh kisika b'chol tamei b'nemelas chaya. That, what do the Rabbanan do with that pasuk? Tosfos is bothered by that because he says, why do they wait a page to ask what the Rabbanan do? So, whatever the case is, the Gemara answers, Kula l'kud Rabbi Hudasa. All it's telling me is the opinion of Rabbi. That Rabbi told us that korban that needs to be brought when someone is tamei and there's a guilt. What's it referring to? It's referring to that he goes and he eats a sacrifice. That's such a significant halacha that all these psukim are telling me that. Okay, new Mishnah. Ha'isha shemeis v'lada b'toich meyah. A woman whose fetus dies during the pregnancy. Pashta chayes yada, the midwife sticks her hands inside, b'nagabai, and touches the fetus. She does this internal examination. She touches the dead fetus. Hachaya tme'ah mashiva. The midwife had come in contact with a corpse, so she's tummy for 7 days. V'ha'isha, but the mother, tahayrad sheyetzei avlad, she's pure. The mother's pure. Apparently, she hasn't touched the corpse. There's 2 possibilities here. One possibility is contact. When it's inside, when it's invisible contact, is not considered contact. to contract tumah. The other possibility is tumah that's absorbed doesn't give off tumah. There's a difference there. There's a difference there. We're going to see the difference as we go on. But is it because the contact isn't counted, or is it because it's not? It doesn't give off tumah when it's absorbed, when it's swallowed in? Okay, that's the discussion, and we start off with Amar Rabba. Rabba says there's only two names in this whole Gemara. There's Rabba and Rava. Rabba takes up a page, and then Rava at the end is going to question it. Amar Rabba. Rabba says, Kshem shetuma belu eina metama. Just as swallowed up tumah, as in this case, the fetus is absorbed inside. We consider it swallowed. It's embedded inside. Doesn't impart tumah. Kach tara belu eina metama. If I knew the Aramaic grammar, Hebrew grammar, I would be able to say this better. But also, purity that's absorbed doesn't become tamei. You have to emphasize it probably. Mitama doesn't become tamei. So the Gemara says, okay. So in other words, just as something that's swallowed up doesn't give out tuma, so too something that's pure that's swallowed in doesn't receive tuma. We have to go back and discuss the first case. Tuma belu minalan. How do we know that something that's absorbed doesn't give out tuma, doesn't impart tuma? The ksiv, it says in the pasuk, someone that eats from a carcass, his clothing becomes tamei, which means he becomes tamei if he eats from it. Are we not talking about someone that eats close to when the sun sets? And he goes to the mikveh. You hear this? He hasn't really digested the food yet. He ate very close to sunset. He swallows it. He jumps in the mikveh. He comes out, he's pure. Now where's the food? Food is in his stomach. Obviously, he doesn't become tummy with food in his stomach. Even though he's not touching it, but he's carrying it. And it's masa, nevela, when you carry it, you become tummy. It must be that absorbed tumah doesn't give up. The Gemara says, yeah.
Let's say a tummy Eily shatters, it's no longer tummy.
Right.
So it's the same thing. You have a piece of food and you chew it and you destroy it.
Excellent. The Gemara is going to discuss that. Very good. What type of coffee? No. The Dilma. And maybe Shani Hasam Lechazi Leger. We have a special halacha. That nevela, that's Lechazi Leger. It says that you can give to the stranger that's in your midst the nevela. That means the non-Jew that lives in your gates. You can give to him the non-kosher food, even though he's accepted the 7 Noachide laws, but he doesn't keep kosher. You give to him the animal that's not kosher. So it says that what's considered not kosher, only something that he could eat. But if it becomes spoiled, which let's assume that someone starts digesting it, it spoils. So you are not going to feed it to him now. So it doesn't give off tumah either. Let's say that it's leichazia leger. Ger doesn't mean a convert. It means the stranger that's ger toishav. Thank you. Gemara says, "Hanichal Rabbi Yochanan." We can resolve this according to Rabbi Yochanan. Damar achazu v'achazu ad lekelev shaper. That he says that when will it not become give off tumah? Only if it's not fit for a dog to eat. But if it's not fit for human consumption, it's still tamei. So maybe we're talking about that he was just at the beginning of the digestion, and it's still fit for a dog. So that's why this is a proof that absorbed tumah doesn't give off. But according to Bar Pada, that says that it needs to be fit for human consumption. Maybe the reason why it's not making him tamei is because it's not fit for human consumption. Because it's not fit to give to the ger toishav. The Gemara says, see, this is where it comes from. What they don't know doesn't hurt. We're talking about here that yes, if he would see the guy swallowing it, and then we'd see him somehow getting it out, so he's not going to eat it. But if he swallows it, and we take it out, and we don't tell him, so it could be that it's still edible. It's just if he knows about it, he's going to be disgusted about it. It doesn't mean that it's not edible. It means that if he doesn't, it's the mind that makes it not edible. A person won't even drink his own spit. You spit in a cup, no one's going to drink that after it. It's because you know about it. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. You have it in your mouth, it's the same thing. But when you know about it, you become disgusted. It doesn't, right? It doesn't change the fact. It's just in your mind. It sounds disgusting. So, Ashkechan, we've resolved this. Tumah Balua, we have a proof that it doesn't give off Tumah because the guy can jump in the mikveh, come out, and he's pure, even though the food is still there, and it's still edible if the guy doesn't know about it. Ashkechan Tumah Balua. We know that absorbed Tumah doesn't give off. But Tara Balua Minal, how do we know that absorbed pure things don't become Tameh? It says Kal V'chaimer. Of a Kal V'chaimer. Okay, listen to this. If you have an earthenware vessel similar to this, like this, this is not earthenware, but let's say it would be earthenware, clay, and there's something tamei inside it, and it's sealed. The tumah can still go out of it. It's called a tzamid pasel. But the tumah, if there's something tamei inside, the tumah will still go out and make tamei what's in the house. Let's say a piece of a corpse is inside. Let's say there's something pure inside, and it's in a house that has a corpse in it, and it's sealed. The tumah doesn't penetrate. Tumah goes out, but tumah doesn't penetrate.
So the radiation goes out, but
Yeah.
the radiation doesn't come in.
Yeah. Is there such a material?
I don't know.
When was
It's
so
like a
say it again,
one-way,
Rabbi?
So inside the keli.
Like a valve.
So let's say you have an eight. You have something.
It's tar.
Something is Torah. So if the house is matame,
The house makes everything
let's say there's a
tamei,
mace,
but not
it's not nothing.
But not that
Closed.
that
What if it's
ring.
open?
If it's open, then it's
it's
in the
tar?
house. Then it's in the house. It's in the house if it's open.
closed, it's mean
Okay.
it's,
So we're asking.
This
Where,
is Malim B'Kedusha and Yodam B'Kedusha, maybe. So it's already covered.
So let's see. Let's see that what we're doing over here. We're looking over here is someone has something inside of him, and it's not going to become tamei even though he's in. Okay. So we're learning it from a kli cheres. It goes like this: Kal v'chayim. Ma kli cheres hamukav tzamid pasel. When I have a kli cheres that has a tzamid pasel, that means it's sealed. Sheina matzel al tumah shebesoichai. It doesn't save the tumah that's inside it from going out. Mila tamei, from going out and being tamei. The amar mar, because it was taught in a brisa or a mishnah. Tumah ritzutza bekasba ilad l'rakia, that the tumah can go out and go up till the heavens, even though it's in a sealed container. But nevertheless, matzel al tara shebesoichai mila tamei. But if there is something inside it, it protects it from becoming tamei. Usually it's talking about that there's food inside it. I don't know if it protects on a keli. It protects on food. So Adam,